Hello, everybody. Uh, Apologies in advance for my post-cold, gravelly voice today, but it's fine because we're joined by Dory, so, you know, we get a nice lilting response afterwards. Welcome, everybody, to our AEW Dynamite review of the March 26th edition of AEW Dynamite specifically. Again, joined by Dory. Dory, please introduce yourself to the Modcast faithful.
Hello, I am Dory. I go by she, her. Very excited to talk more about Dynamite. Uh, Eventually, we'll get some other people besides just Adam and I. I know everyone loves our dulcet tones, but eventually we will have more variety. And we didn't do Collision because it was weird. It was like Saturday and then Sunday, and they did 2 hours, and it was a whole thing. So we were like, we'll just do Dynamite. But yeah, Dynamite was a great show, so I'm excited to talk about with you, Adam. And we'll start from the beginning because that's probably the best place to start on this episode.
It really is, yeah. We were saying just before we went live that this was a really, really good episode of Dynamite, but we thought we'd start from the beginning because there wasn't that sort of key thing that we have to absolutely talk about right at the start of this episode, which is fine. You know, not every episode can have, Jack Perry killing Tony Khan or whatever,
Right.
but, there's a lot to talk about, but we'll start at the beginning. The very beginning, because I want to point out that this episode was heavily Minecraftified, um, which is divisive, I think. We haven't actually spoken about this. What did you think about that?
I came in a couple minutes late, so I actually missed this. I like literally started at like 8:01, 8:02, and I somehow missed this. But I guess the screen was animated by a bunch of creepers that just look like green dicks. I know other people have mentioned this joke before, but I just they just look like dicks. Anyway, so I don't really care. I mean, it doesn't really bother me. I wasn't really distracted. People are complaining about it in the chat, but like honestly, I was too distracted by the people in the ring, which is how it should be. But I do understand that the kind of very colorful, animated graphics going on around the ring and on the entrance screen can be a little distracting for some people. A little detail too that I saw from Twitter is that the llama later on, the Minecraft llama, was kind of
Yeah,
like looked like it was reacting to what spoilers, what Hangman and Swerve were saying to each other, and I did not notice that because I was literally, that meme where the kid is like holding his hands up on his head and he's like, oh my god. That's like how that's how I was. I was literally was doing that meme. Like that's how I was doing it. Um, but yeah,
yeah.
I was so excited. But anyway, yeah, I don't care. The kids I work with, they love Minecraft by and large, so I don't know. I thought that was cool for kids, but for me, I don't care. I never played Minecraft and I don't really plan to. It's not my kind of
Wow,
game. Not my genre.
wow. Dory hates Minecraft and kids.
That's right.
Um,
Pick a
Fuck them
lane,
kids.
right? Pick a lane.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's fine. I get it. It's corporate America. They're gonna have sponsors from time to time. Fucking
Corporate
whatever.
synergy, Adam. Corporate
I
synergy.
know. I know. I love synergy. I eat it for breakfast. It makes me wet.
Oh
Sorry.
my God, Jesus Christ. I'm so
I,
sorry
I
to
was
our listeners who have to hear that.
I was channeling divine there. I don't know. I was watching some John Waters yesterday. It sort of seeped into
Uh,
my vocabulary. Um, but yes, we'll start at the beginning eventually.
hey, speaking of
This
things
was,
that make you wet, it's Blake
oh
Christian.
my, oh fuck off. Um,
I actually was gonna say Kenny at first, and then I was like, wait a second, there's a funnier opportunity here.
I thought he was vanilla.
He's vanilla baby.
Oh no. Okay, I don't hate Blake Christian as much as some people, but I was just happy to see a Kenny Omega singles match on my screen.
Yes.
You know, it was it was good. It was it's always good to see Kenny. This crowd continually reminding us that AEW crowds are on fire recently because they were loud as fuck for Kenny Omega coming out of this. coming out for this match.
Yeah, they were great. All night they were great. The crowds lately have been awesome, and I've really liked it. Like the whole crowd discussion, it doesn't I understand where people are coming from. It absolutely does add to a show. I've even seen shows from other companies that will not be named that had such good and loud crowds that I'm like, okay, I mean, maybe this is not utter shit, you know? But like in general, I'm like, just because 50,000 people say something doesn't mean they're right, right? I mean, there's, I appreciate crowd support. I appreciate crowd noise, but it doesn't make or break a show for me. It certainly adds atmosphere, and I certainly appreciate it. But it's not like if we've got quiet crowds, I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Like we got through COVID, we got through the pandemic. Like, it as long as the graps are good, I'm happy. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I there is a point where it can really detract for something. I'm not gonna mention specific companies. All I'll say is 70,000 people and you could hear a pin drop really took it out for me. Um, but regardless,
agreed.
it's a moot point because AEW crowds are consistently loud, and I feel like these more intimate arenas have allowed the sort of the real passion and the loudness of the AEW fans to shine through. And this absolutely continued in St. Paul, I believe. I don't want to make the mistake that Renee did and say Minneapolis and get corrected. Um, I think it was St. Paul. So the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, whatever, Prince Country. But yeah, Kenny Omega, Blake Christian, not a whole lot to say. I mean, I'm glad that, like I say, Kenny Omega got a singles match. It was good. It went less than 5 minutes, I believe. I think Blake Christian got a little bit of offense in, but not a
Yeah, a
great
little bit
deal.
here and there. Yeah.
He took a fucking hell of a V trigger.
Yeah.
Um, absolutely snapped his head clean back, like really gnarly stuff. And then, One Winged Angel. I did have a thought, and I saw some people online have the same thought, just because I don't know what it is about Blake Christian that made me think this, but I just thought, what would be the consequences if he just kicked out of the One Winged Angel?
I know. God, that would be incredible. I think Ibushi would cry real tears if that happened.
I, I think he would legitimately be blacklisted from every wrestling company.
I know. That'd be incredible.
It would,
Uh
it would be like,
Blake Christian just Bobby fishes them.
yeah,
That'd
yeah,
be
just
amazing.
kick out at
Kick out at
3.1.
3 or 3.1 or something. That'd be
Oh,
funny.
that'd be hilarious. Has anyone ever actually done that to the One Winged Angel?
Besides Ibushi, maybe Okada, but that's it. I don't
It's
think anyone's kicked out besides Ibushi.
no, nobody's kicked out besides Ibushi. I mean, has anyone done the sort of 3.1? I'm
Oh,
losing, but I'm not.
oh shit! I don't know. You do see it every now and then. Sometimes people kick out right after the 3 count just to show like, okay, I still got some fight in me, but it wasn't enough, kind of thing. It's
Oh,
not just like
absolutely.
it's not just a shit on you kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. What I mean is, has anyone done it to the fucking One Winged Angel? Like,
Oh yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea.
but
Get Bobby Fish in the only answer, sensible answer is to get Bobby in the ring with Kenny, and that's the only way that'll happen.
yeah, that's a no from me, dog. Uh,
But yeah, this was a good match. I love Blake. You know what? I think his heel act is so good. He was a good baby face, but he's such a good heel. He really digs in, makes you hate him. I know some people don't like him because he does unnecessary flip moves. I don't give a shit. I think it's goofy. I think it's funny. I think he knows what he's doing and why he's doing it. I think he knows it pisses people off, and that's why he keeps doing it. Maybe he doesn't. I don't really care. I enjoy it. I am that Simpsons meme of Lisa being addicted to the flippy moves, flippy shit. I love it. I think Blake's got a great attitude for a heel. He did get a little bit of offense here and there, but for the most part, this was all Kenny. Which of course it should have been. I would have been. I think it's very funny because this match reminded me of. Do you remember back when I don't remember if you were watching back then or not, but when Alan Angels or Five had his match with Kenny and the internet fucking melted down. I wasn't watching then either, actually.
yeah, I
But yeah, the
remember.
internet melted down because Alan Angels went like 5 or 6 minutes. This was kind of similar in that people were very upset that Blake Christian was in the. They were like, "Why are we wasting a Kenny TV match?" One, Kenny probably requested this, Blake specifically, And then like number two, like it's 5 or 6 minutes. It's not a big deal, and it was pretty much a glorified squash. It was fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think going back to what you said about Blake Christian, I don't want to spend like a great deal of time on Blake
Yeah,
Christian. There's a lot to talk about, but like, I feel like his whole excessive flippy moves things works brilliantly as a heel. I think people hated it when he was trying to do it earnestly, and it was like, oh god, this is what people who hate Will Ospreay say Will Ospreay is like. But if you lean into that and do it as a heel, I think it really works. I'm not a hater of Blake Christian. I'm glad this was the perfect spot for him to
yeah,
be a sort of dickhead heel, get his 5 minutes on Dynamite, and have Kenny Omega fucking destroy him.
yeah.
Um,
Good
Very
stuff.
good stuff. And then after the match, Kenny Omega gets on the mic. First of all, I love Kenny Omega's style of promo recently, where it's just like,
He's so good.
yeah,
He's
look,
so laid back. He's like, I
yeah,
don't have to care. I'm the fucking best in the world. Come at me.
yeah, yeah. I think he said, I'm glad I got to make it quick or whatever. He has to deal with sort of Ricochet and Speedball. Great match. Very, very jealous once again that you were getting to see this match live.
Hey, look, I didn't mention it this time. Adam mentioned it. I just want to point that out.
But yeah, Speedball came down in shoes, which is a new look for him.
Yeah, I didn't like
Um,
that. That was weird. That's like Halo on PlayStation. Like, what's happening here?
I know. I feel like a bit like Pac always going everywhere in his ring gear. I feel like I
Right?
just imagine
Right.
Speedball just
Remember that
walking
one
around
week where
barefooted
Pac had
everywhere.
dry hair and he was like wearing clothes or some shit, or at least he had dry hair. It was really fucked up. I was like, this is the scariest shit I've ever seen.
It's so weird because it like not to go on too much of a tangent again, but like Pac in the ring, he looks like a scary bastard man who will kick your head in. You see him normally, he's just like Ben down the pub. It's like he's dressing in like fucking polo shirts and stuff. I don't like it. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Um, but regardless, Speedball comes down in shoes, cuts a promo. I thought he did an okay job at it. I was a bit
Thought it
nervous
was
for him
fine.
because it's his first promo on sort of a big stage like this.
Yeah.
He has a cadence to him and an accent to him that could not. It has the potential to not work in front of American
Right.
audiences. I mean, it helps that it's Minnesota. They're pretty close to Canada, but I thought he did quite well. I thought he held his own against Kenny, which Kenny being that sort of laid back chill guy does help on the mic.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, because if Kenny
yeah,
was going off on Bailey, I think he would have eaten him up. But because he's just so laid back and he's just kind of like whatever, I'm the best in the world. Who cares? It
yeah.
works a lot better.
If he'd have done an MVP to
Oh
Speedball,
my
I think
god.
he'd have been
Yeah.
fucking dead in the water. But
Yeah. Yeah.
as it was a promo that worked to both of their strengths, so I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
And then we get Ricochet up on the screen at his wedding, supposedly, and I think that was proven to be true, wasn't it?
Yes, it was proven to be true. He did. That's a shoot, brother. He did in fact actually get married recently to somebody who's the bomb. I don't know.
So I hear.
Hmm.
Uh, hope I would love to see Samantha in AEW. I
I
don't
would
know what.
too. I honestly always thought that she was really great. I loved the way that she did her the entrances for a lot of people. I think the way that she was treated on her way out by certain sections of the fan base was terrible. But I also
They
am
do
happy
that
for
to
her.
everyone.
Yes, I'm aware, but it was particularly bad because Samantha's a woman and she's not white. Yeah, I'm really happy that she's able to pursue her dreams of music, but also please come back to wrestling at some point if you want to.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, getting back onto this promo, you know, Ricochet does his thing. He's not there in person. He's just gonna beat them at Dynasty. Standard heel stuff. Ricochet's great on the mic. This is
Hmm.
not this is not necessarily new news anymore that Ricochet has done a complete 180 in his promo ability. Good for him. Um, Kenny Omega said that Dynasty is about making friends because he has a cat. What more does he
Yeah.
need? Uh,
Line of the
fully
night. Line of the night.
fully endorse that sentiment.
Yep.
But yeah, he says,
Kenny was so funny. I like when a speedball was like, "Congratulations on your title." Pause. Kenny's like,
yes,
"Thanks." Um, The crowd
Yeah,
audibly laughing. I love when shit like that happens. And then I love Kenny kind of doing kind of a meta commentary on wrestling where he's like, wait, Ricochet, before you go for he's gone. Oh,
I know, I love that.
it's so good.
Kenny just has that aura of like, I'm here. I'm the best of all time. I don't need to put on any pretense. I don't
Right.
give a fuck. I'm just gonna be me, and it
Yeah.
works because Kenny Omega being himself it's Kenny Omega. What more do you want? So that wrapped up the thing. He did the good night bang. The crowd was very loud for that. Approve. And then we go we go backstage to Chris Jericho, uh, who announced first of all he complained about the learning tree, which I thought was very interesting. To go and prove themselves, which ties into what we saw later in the night. I feel like we are slowly but surely building to Big Bill absolutely kicking the shit out of Chris Jericho. And I'm
Hmm.
very much, I cannot believe I'm saying this about a learning tree angle. I'm very, very excited for where this is going.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a bumpy road for the learning tree. That's no secret. But it's had its
It's been
moments.
it's been a fucking slalom course for the learning tree. Let's not sugarcoat this.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely weeks where and excuse me, I'm just having my lunch, but there's there is just casually. But there are definitely moments where it was arguably or easily the worst thing on every Wednesday, and I was like, oh. But lately, it's been pared down. It's so quick on the week shows that I don't really mind, and it's usually got something interesting like this or something funny. I mean, I still think the Learning Tree segment with Ishii and Jericho is
Oh,
one of the funniest. I've literally watched back multiple times. But anyway, I don't want to get dragged up on that. I do think that eventually both these guys will form a tag team, or Big Bill will do. They'll form kind of a loose association with each other. Brian Keith will go back to his bounty hunter ways. We've already seen that a little bit recently, and Big Bill will maybe get some big gold. So I hope that happens. I like Big Bill. He's got a great story of redemption for him. So I always love that kind of stuff. So yeah, hoping the best for both these guys. Brian Keith is great. Yeah, he had an awesome run in the Indies before AEW, and I'm hoping they'll let him show out.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I love Brian Keith. I love Big Bill. Um, Over the course of his career, I love Chris Jericho. Um, and he's got me back over the past couple of months. I wasn't expecting him to, but he did. And to that point, he says that he wants Bandito's mask. It's going to be title versus mask at Dynasty. So congratulations, Dory. You don't escape the Chris
I
Jericho mask.
fell to my fucking knees. I wasn't fully paying attention to the wasn't fully paying attention to the pro. It's Chris Jericho, and I just kind of like presumed that he said Supercard of Honor since it had just been announced. But I was like, okay, Supercard of Honor, whatever, whatever. And then suddenly I get a tag from Adam saying, heh. And I'm like, what heh? What are you talking about? He's like, he didn't say Supercard. He said Dynasty. And I literally posted a gif of like somebody falling to their knees. I'm like, no. But
hold on. I got to stop you there. What did
what?
you just fucking call it?
I knew you were going to say something. So there's this old PBS video where Mike Mignolia says that there's a whole different slew of ways to pronounce GIF or GIF. And he says he likes pronouncing it jive because it pisses everybody off. Ever since that
Yes.
video, I say it jive because it pisses everybody off.
Jesus Christ. I got
Anyway,
whiplash. I was drinking some water. You're lucky I didn't fucking spit it all over my laptop. Like
yeah. Anyway,
that's disgusting.
but anyway, so I posted a video like image of somebody falling to their knees, and yeah, I this is going to be a good bathroom break or a good water break or something. I mean, to be fair, Bandito did get the best match of Chris Jericho's career
Yeah.
in quite a long time, so I think he can do it again. This will actually probably be fine. It might even be better than fine. Maybe it'll even be, dare I say, good. But we will have to see, and unfortunately, I will have to see live.
Honestly, this is like the first Jericho match, the first Jericho pay-per-view match in a long, long time where I feel like they have earned the spot on the pay-per-view with the
Yeah,
work that they've been doing. It's like before you would have like, oh god, we're gonna get the Jericho match on pay-per-view because of course we fucking are. But this is the first one where I'm like, okay, I can see why you have put this on pay-per-view. The work you
right.
have
They've
been
been
doing
building
to
it
build this
nicely.
match,
Yeah.
yeah, the work you've been doing to build this match warrants a pay-per-view match. Fair play to you. So, I'm not down on this match at all. I think this will be a good match. I fully expect, given the stipulation, that Bandito will absolutely wipe the floor with him and be your new ROH World Champion. Um, and maybe that's where you do the big Milton. Who knows? Who knows? We'll speculate on that. I think closer to the event itself. But yeah, good stuff. I would say. Um, After that, we get MJF go into the ring to offer his response to MVP's potential recruitment of him to the Hurt Syndicate. He had a great line where he said Michael Jackson was a bigger star than Prince in Minneapolis or fucking St. Paul, which I
Yeah.
thought, good heat. I like
Yeah. Good
that.
heat.
It's
I really thought,
it,
and we don't need to talk about this, but I really thought for a second when he brought up Michael Jackson, he was going to go somewhere else with his comments because it's MJF. But he did
yeah,
not.
honestly.
He did not. But I for a split second I had the fear. I was like, oh my god. But no, he didn't do it. But yeah,
Oh my god, I didn't even clock that, but yeah, you're right. Oh,
yes,
that could have gone. That could have gone a
yeah,
million different worse
yes, it
ways.
could have. Yes, it could have.
Um, so yeah, he calls MVP down to the ring. Um, he says he gets sort of straight to the point. He wants to be in the quote the business of hurting people. So there you have it, right? Uh, MJF in the Hurt Syndicate. I feel like, and people have made this point online that I don't necessarily think he fulfills one of the very key criteria to necessarily.
It's like he's got big and I'm stealing this from the internet, but he's got big Owen Hart in the oh no, Nation of Domination aura going on here, vibe going on here. Yeah, there's definitely some interesting aspects that perhaps Maxwell is missing in his nature, in his makeup. You know what I mean? So
Mm,
just might be missing a certain thing. Although in all seriousness, they have said that the this kind of baffles me, but the Hurt Syndicate business, whatever you want to call it, is not a race based faction, in that it's all about excellence, not necessarily black excellence, though that's what they focused on. So I don't know.
yeah.
I don't really care either way. Whoever
No.
mvup, and as Simon Miller would say, mvup, MVP, and Bobby, and of course the goat Shelton want is fine by
Yes.
me. I
Put
trust
some
them.
respect
God,
on that
Shelton
name.
got such a good. Let's talk. I forgot this was his hometown.
Yeah. He's a Minnesota boy.
Yeah.
He absolutely earns every inch of that crowd pot because
Yes.
Shelton is quite possibly, this is a bit of a controversial opinion, the most underrated wrestler of my lifetime.
I grew up with him being underrated
Yeah,
as
same.
I was watching TV when I saw that Shawn Michaels spot, and it knocked the fuck out of me. And yeah,
That was a
I
bit before
honest
my time, but yeah, he was
yes, well,
when.
yeah, I'm old. I'm old. But
Mhm.
yes, I no argument, just but yeah, no, I agree with you. He's one of, if not the most underrated. Was never given a fair shake. I this was after my time, but before I came back to wrestling. When he was doing his gold standard stuff, and I didn't watch the Hurt business stuff either because that I hadn't quite gotten back into wrestling by then. But yeah, he was never valued right. He was never treated well. Bobby was the only one of the group that was ever treated remotely decently, and I don't even know if you want to call that remotely decently, given some of the angles and some of the titles and some of the feuds that Bobby was involved in. I don't know if that's considered decent. But anyway, that's all besides the point. Shelton deserved this pop. This was maybe the pop of the night. I kind of think it was the pop of the night. I don't really know, besides maybe Kenny, who got anything. Now, obviously, it's a hometown pop, right? But I mean,
Yeah,
like, But I mean, like, Top Flight didn't get this response. They got a great response, but they didn't. I don't know who else would have got this kind of level, but it was deafening. It was the entire whole, like, I don't know, the whole area. I don't know what you want to call it, whatever, theater, whatever it was. And they were just Shelton. So anyway, I was very happy for him. You could see him kind of smiling because I know he does not get that as much as he deserves. Him and Charlie Haas, still one of the best tag teams. They were so good.
Yes, absolutely. Criminally underrated. Good for you, Shelton. Having this career renaissance at your age. We applaud you. But yeah, going back to the segment, can you believe that we actually have to talk about a Dynamite? Crazy stuff on this Dynamite review. But MVP, is like very accepting of MJF wanted to be part of the Hurt Syndicate. Bobby and Shelton have other ideas. Bobby, he takes the card off MJF, rips it up in front of him, teasing a little bit of dissension within the ranks. I have no doubt that will not necessarily lead to a split of any
No,
kind.
I don't think so either. But I do
I, th-
think
I think
I like it because it shows. I think one of our friends I think one of our friends made this point, but it kind of highlights the syndicate aspect that there's not a hierarchy. I mean, MVP literally says later on, like, I'm not the boss here. Like, all three of us are equals. If you two aren't in it, then I'm not in it. And I like that part
yeah
because you so rarely see that in groups. You usually have a leader, or even if it is a group, you don't see them explicitly saying, oh well, it's got to be everybody's in it or nobody's in it kind of thing. And I like that. That's very doable with a 3-person kind of group. It's less doable if you've got like 8 or 9 members, of course, but it's more doable if you've only got 3. And at least for right now, seems like the Hurt Syndicate or Hurt Business or whatever only have 3. Hurt Business.
Syndicate.
I'm gonna keep getting that confused. I apologize. I'm gonna get, even though I wasn't watching wrestling at the time, I'm going to keep getting that confused.
Yeah, and somehow you still got it wrong.
I know.
Oh well. But yeah, so after that, MJF sort of leaves the ring, and then tying it back to what Chris Jericho said to the other members of the Learning Tree, go out there and prove yourselves. Brian
Right.
Keith and Big Bill come out to
Oh
to
boy.
challenge for the tag titles, and MVP absolutely mauled them. Um, yeah, you talk about this. Oh my god.
This was look, I think Bill did all right, but MVP is not a man to be messed with. To quote
No.
Simon Miller, the dude has verbal bulletproof armor. Like, he is. I would if there is a promo battle on one side of the alley or like one path and a fucking like chainsaw on the other path and me just getting mauled, I'm taking the chainsaw every time rather than going up against MVP on a promo. That dude eviscerates people. Like when he called Big Bill a bitch, I felt that. But when Big Bill did it back to him, I'm like, weak sauce. Like, like, it just didn't hit the same. And I like again, we've talked about it already. I like Big Bill. He's great. He's got a
I
a
just have
great, what's that?
I just have the image of Toni Storm calling Big Bill a big bitch now.
My God, you're a
Well,
big Bill.
MVP just goes to Big Bill. My God, you're a big bitch.
That would have been an amazing callback.
Oh,
But yeah,
wouldn't it
I just don't mess with MVP on the mic. He just destroyed Big Bill. Maybe
Yeah.
destroyed is too harsh, but yeah, he did really great against Bill on this one. And they're, I mean, I guess it's controversial. I feel like they're kind of copy pasting what they did. I know the Outrunners, technically it was the Murder Machines, but it feels like kind of a. But on the other hand, somebody made a good point. That's kind of the only story you have for the tag teams right now. You got to build back up the division. I don't have a big problem with it. It's just something I noticed, but it doesn't bother me hugely. I think the Learning Tree versus Top Flight on Collision will be great, and I think them versus, unless they pull a Murder Machines and they lose. I
Oh my
think
god.
Brian Cage is injured, and that's why we haven't gotten that match. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I
either
heard
way,
that.
yeah. But it looks like the Hurt Business are kind of tweening it up, and they're kind of they're being kind of baby faces, but maybe just relative baby faces. I mean, they're not really. They're kind of the anti-hero thing. Like they just don't give a fuck. Like it's nice to have the fan support, but they don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm into this feud, is what I'm saying.
Yes, as am I. I'm intrigued as to where they go next. But next we have to talk about my absolute highlight of the night. To be honest, even though the match that follows it was incredible, this is the thing that I came out of this show thinking about, which is Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa are backstage with Renee Paquette, and they squashed their beef, which was sort of widely reported a couple of years ago, and they are back, you know, teaming teaming together. Rosa brings up their history, and Toni Storm says, we are bringing, we are bringing back the tag team, blah 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 blah. it's Thunder Rosa that tees her up, right? She says, "Get ready to face," or something, and Toni Storm just goes, "The Thunder Tits," and you can see every single person in that segment just absolutely corpse themselves laughing because I don't, I have to assume if this is based solely on Renee Paquette's reaction. She didn't tell anyone she was going to say that. Like,
Yeah,
kudos to Renee for keeping it together because I don't think I would have. Toni Storm is just the best. She's,
she
she's
is
just
incredible.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um,
This was great. I mean, I know opinions on Thunder Rosa are mixed these days, and honestly, I'm starting to lean towards them. I used to defend her, but I'm starting to lean towards it. But I am happy for Thunder Tits to come back. That's great. They were always called Thunder Tits, by the way, in my heart. And It's like a deep-seated truth. We all just knew it was true. Anyway, but yeah, this was a great promo segment. I don't know how Renee didn't just walk off the screen and just die of laughter. I mean, she corpsed a little bit, but Tony's so effortlessly funny and effortlessly charismatic and great in the ring. I mean, she's got it all. She's one of the best right now. Not just for women's wrestling, but in general, in wrestling, period. So I thought this was a great segment. I loved Thunder playing the quote unquote straight man here, being kind of just baffled by Tony. Of course, Luther was in the background. I love me some Luther. Completely wild to see his transformation over the years in AEW, but he's really found his place. So good for him. Yeah, this was a good segment.
yeah, very good. Sets up the match later, which we will talk about later. But now we have to talk about my match of the night, which I've been sort of trying to move the conversation along because I couldn't wait to talk about this match. Which is
Yes.
Brody King versus Carl Fletcher in. I mean, I kind of have to say the Minecraft theme match of the night. But we will swiftly skirt across that because I I just don't want to sully what was a really amazing match with that. Um, I want to talk about Carl Fletcher because why wouldn't I?
Of
It's
course.
it's it's all I want to do. We have oh, I do want to briefly talk about Don Callis on commentary. First of all,
Yes.
Don Callis, I will maintain, is a phenomenal commentator, especially when he gets to be like the heel goof, which is
Yeah.
his best quality. I want to put over the guy that was stood behind him in full
Yes.
Don Callis cosplay.
And
Absolutely
Don didn't
perfect.
sell it at all. He didn't even acknowledge him. I loved it. He did not even. I mean, maybe during the ad break or some shit, but as far as I saw, he never
No,
acknowledged the
no,
Don Callis. And he was so good. Later on, I think when we went to the commentary table and Don Callis right behind them, he was like following along, making hand gestures, like looking at the people who were talking. He was going like, "That's a good point." Like it was so
yeah,
fucking funny. I don't know who this guy is who's cosplaying as Don Callis, but he's fucking hilarious. If Don ever needs a night off, I think we've got a suitable replacement.
yeah. There was a point in this where I think Brody King was on the outside, and the real Don Callis, stands up and says, count him. And the other dog Callis had them say, yeah, count him, ref.
That was so good.
It's such good comedy. I love it so much. And like, I'll put over the AEW fan base once again, of which I
Yep.
am a proud card carrying member. Um, that sort of creativity is part and parcel for AEW fans. Like, they're they're the best, and I
Yes.
love them. But yeah, just to talk about this match, oh, it slapped quite literally from beginning to end. These guys were trading chops that I think one of them would kill me, and for them it's just a Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like these guys, the hard hitting action that we got in this match. Oh boy! And
This was
I
good.
want to.
I
Oh,
knew
go
this
on.
was going to be good, but this was this and the Takeshita match later on. Oh, those were my matches of the night. They were so damn good. But yeah, I love this. I turned to Kim at one point. I said matches like this make me fall in love with wrestling all over again. Like I
Yeah,
fucking loved it. Hard hitting, fast at times. Just really solid work that looks just painful as fuck. Probably is painful as fuck. Just good shit. But yeah, let's go through some highlights or whatever else.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's two that come to mind for me. Well, actually three. We'll go with three. First of all, Brody King doing a suicide dive through the
Yes.
absolutely like this. It's a simple move, right? They pull it out, in almost every AEW match because it's a very easy way to get the crowd up on their feet. It's very impressive. But seeing someone like Brody King do it, it just has an entirely different sort of
And he's
feeling
been
to it.
doing that since PWG. He's been doing that for a long time. He's a big guy. He wasn't as big back then, but he's a big guy in terms of like
Yeah,
muscular and just body and everything. Big bad Brody King for real. So yeah, it's always super impressive when he's able to do that. I mean, the precision that you need, even as a normal like size guy, I used to say normal size guy in wrestling, or gal,
mm,
is impressive. But when you're that big as Brody King is, not that he's, but like he's a bigger guy. It's even more impressive. I mean, that's like threading a needle to some extent.
yeah, absolutely. Like you say, the precision to get through the ropes and not sort of twang yourself on them and make the spot either go very goofy or very dangerous is impressive at the best of times. But for someone like Brody King to maintain that form, like you say, it's like threading a camel through the eye of a needle. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So absolutely props to him.
Poor camel.
There's yeah,
Sorry.
I mean
That's the autism. It's like I just hear expressions and I'm like, I take them literally.
no, I mean I have ridden a camel. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world.
Oh,
I imagine
wow.
I imagine for the camel either, but
Who's this?
who,
Who's
well,
this? Who's this
yeah.
UK English prick?
First of all, don't call me English.
See, folks, this is the cheat code. This is the easiest way. See, I know that he's not English, but it's just great.
Yeah, fuck you too. Uh, but there's a point in this match where I think I think Brody King he suplexes Carl Fletcher into the corner and they go out onto the apron and Brody King gets him up on his shoulders and hits a Death Valley driver onto the apron.
Yes.
And like it's a spot I've seen before. Don't get me wrong. We're not breaking new ground here. But there was just something about it that made me absolutely wince. I don't know whether it's because it's Brody King lifting this man up. And Carl Fletcher is not a small guy. You talk
Yep.
about Brody King's size. This is one of the few matches where I looked at Brody King and thought, oh, you don't look like you're dwarfing someone in this match. You don't look like the big guy. Carl Fletcher is what, like 6'4", 6'5"? He's a
Yeah, he's
he's a
pretty damn
guy that
tall.
can he's a guy that could dwarf most people in this world. So this was a fight between two very tall, very muscular guys. And Brody King lifts him up like he's nothing and drops him down like he's nothing. And it just hit the sickening thud on the apron. Oh, it sent a shiver down my spine. I loved it.
Yeah. I I love that sentence. It sent a shiver down my spine. I loved it. I always have these moments in wrestling matches where I'm like, that was disgusting. That was terrible. Do it again.
Yeah.
And Kim always chuckles. But yeah, I love sick shit like that. Two moments I want to highlight towards the beginning of the match where Kyle's making the elementary mistake of trying to go chop for chop with Brody. He's just
Mm,
slapping the shit out of Brody, and it gives him two big hard ones. I'm like, ugh. And then Brody slaps him back, and I swear to God, it filled the whole fucking place up. It was huge. I was like,
yeah,
oh
it was.
my
Oh,
God. The other moment that I really liked in it is when Kyle, I couldn't believe this. Dude is yoked to hell. But like, I just like he picked him up, held him there, and then did a tombstone. And it
yeah,
didn't it didn't make any sense to me for a second. I'm like, how is he doing this? Like and he was holding him there. Geez, I mean, I was about to get jealous. Anyway, so it was a great moment. It was incredible. This whole match was really great. This is a match, definitely a TV match worth going back to for sure.
yes, absolutely. Not least of which is the finish of this match. It's one of those where I saw the writing on the wall. I knew what the finish was going to be the moment they went up to like the top rope because Carl Fletcher has made a habit of doing that sort of top rope El Generico-esque brainbuster as a finisher. But there's still a part of my brain that's like, but not a Brody King. You
Yeah,
can't do that to Brody
I
King. Look
know,
at
right?
him.
It just doesn't
Look
look
at the
right.
fucking size of him.
I
And then he
know.
does. He does. And the execution of it is flawless as well. You see Brody's head just smash into the turnbuckle. And oh my God. I thought, like, to do that to a man who is 300 pounds, to take a bump like that, if you're a man that is 300 pounds, these men put their lives on the line for us. It's incredible stuff. Oh my word. Like I said, match of the night.
Yeah.
Easily for me personally. Like this is one of those like I have my best friend, I show him the best of wrestling in a given sort of week or whatever. This is one that absolutely instantly went on the highlight reel for me. This is one that
Yeah.
I will show him probably twice because what a phenomenal match this was.
Yeah. This was really
Um,
great. I'm we'll talk about the Briscoe Takeshita match later, but that and this one were definitely my match of the night. But this was really great. I loved it a lot.
hmm, yeah, absolutely. I mean, um, after the match, you then had like a beatdown angle with Mark Davis, who we should say factors into the match somewhat.
Right.
He's Brody King is about to hit the cannonball on Carl Fletcher, and Mark Davis comes down and pulls Carl out the way, which then allows Carl to get the win. Which I don't mind. I like that they are showing the Don Callis family as that more cohesive unit because I am a massive mark for the Don Callis family. I love them so much, not just because of the wrestlers that are in it, but also the unit itself. Don Callis is this sort of wrestler hoarder slash father figure to them all. I think works really well. Anyway, that's a tangent
Yes.
for another time. Um, but I really like the way that you had Mark Davis had come down to factor into the match, then starts beating up Brody King after the match. And then you get Powerhouse Hobbs, who is scheduled for a match against Mark Davis, come down to the ring and brawl, 2-on-2. It's that sort of Heyman-esque ECW type,
Yes.
blending the segments together.
Yes.
Which,
I
you know,
went back like I think it was last year or the year before. I know this is another tangent. Start a drinking game, I guess, but you'll probably die because at least one of us on this podcast has ADHD confirmed. But yeah, I went back a year ago. I watched the best of the ECW according to some weird website that likes cages and matches. And I mean, first off, I had a ball. Well, besides the rampant misogyny and homophobia, but
mm.
but product of its time, yada yada yada. But that was one of the things I really liked: the transitions, the ways that matches flowed into each other. ECW at its best was always such a chaotic but very finely tuned kind of machine in a way. I really like the way that some of their best pay-per-views really flowed. And this is that. I mean, it's no secret. Tony Khan's a big mark for ECW. Who grew up on their shows. He was literally there live at a couple of their shows. His dad brought him. So yeah, he's a big mark for ECW, as he should be. There's a lot of good stuff to glean from that. And yeah, I totally agree with you. The transition here was great. I sense a big meaty men tag team match, Brody and Hobbs versus Davis and Fletcher next week. That's what I
Yes.
think on Dynamite. I think that's what we're getting. I don't know where that brings us. But yeah, it makes me very excited. I don't know where that brings us, like, in terms of, like, I would love it, honestly. I know this is going to destroy you, Adam. I'm so sorry. I would love it if this brings us to a pay-per-view rematch between Fletcher and Brody in some kind of hardcore match or something, and Brody actually gets the win. I think that would be big for him. But
I was with you until the Brody gets the win.
yes, I know. I knew that's how it would be. But otherwise, I don't know where this is going. But I'm along for the ride. If it is just a tag team match, I'm fine with that too, being the payoff. This will be great either way. And this was great. And the Davis and Hobbs match was really short and kind of not much, honestly. It wasn't bad. It just kind of, it was there. It was whatever.
It was there. It went like, what, 2 minutes? Not much to
Yeah.
talk about.
I
Big
didn't
meaty
expect
man.
Davis, especially after Davis's impressive showing last week. I was like, oh, this is going to be a great Hoss fight, and we're going to get a lot of time for this. I guess they figured since Fletcher and Brody just kind of had that kind of fight, they didn't want to double up. But
Yeah.
I would have liked Davis to get more. But I mean, I do. But also, I'm so conflicted. I love Powerhouse Hobbs getting pushed. I mean, I posted on Blue Sky. I was like, push Hobbs all the way to the moon. Although make sure he has a spacesuit on. But
Mm.
he thank you. But
You see
he
what I have to put up with, people?
safety's important. God damn it. But anyway, yeah, I've talked enough. What did you think about the Davis and Hobbs match?
I didn't think much of it. Not in a bad way. I just thought, it happens. It was 2 minutes. Hobbs won with a spinebuster. I like that they're making Hobbs look dominant.
Yes.
Whether I would do that against Mark Davis is another question, but I don't necessarily mind too much.
Right.
More for Powerhouse Hobbs, please. I wouldn't mind if the destination that they go is that tag match that you mentioned, and then they do maybe to Fletcher versus Hobbs at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That would be a really good match for me to watch personally. Yeah, I liked it. But not much to talk about in the segment itself.
Right.
It's a 2-minute match. It happened. Cool. Uh, Let me go backstage to another segment that I thought sort of just happened. Like, not much to say about it. I didn't necessarily think it was bad. This is the patriarchy without Papa Christian Cage. Just talking about their sort of slow burn. I don't know whether it's a breakup, but Nick Wayne sort of asserting himself in the patriarchy a lot more.
Yeah. I like this a lot.
Uh,
I've been thinking for a while that Nick needs to kind of grow some wings. Not that he necessarily needs to leave the faction, but we need to start giving Nick some moments here and there. Billy's already had her big match with Mercedes. Not that they have to be syncopated or whatever, but I would like Nick to be getting a little more. I mean, he's really great. His stuff on the Indies was amazing, especially for his age. It's crazy how talented he and Billy are.
yeah.
But yeah, I just I'm really excited about this. I like Nick Wayne a lot. I think he's got a lot of potential as a underdog babyface, and he's got great potential as a smarmy heel. I know that this is a cliche trope, especially in wrestling, but the sky is the absolute fucking limit for this kid. He is.
Mm.
I say kid. I know he's like 19, but he's a kid to me. But like he's got so much potential, especially considering who his dad was and the training he's got. I think he could do really great. He needs to obviously work on the character and promos, but that'll come in time. I'm not worried about that at all. And I
Mm.
think what little he has done here, especially with Christian, especially last week, really floored me. I did not expect it, especially since AEW's honestly done so little with him, which is not a huge deal. I think they've been slowly building it up. But anyway, I like this,
Yeah.
but you're right. There's not a lot to say. Some eagle-eyed people note, Adam, stay with me on this one, that he was wearing a Death Rider shirt during this. So maybe if you go back and watch that promo, you'll notice that.
Yeah, entirely possible. Who told you that?
I don't know, somebody reliable and definitely not anything but.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the backhanded compliment right there. Um, but just to go on a tiny little tangent of my own, only a minute. Just let me have this. You've had like 5 of them. Um, I I am continually and utterly flabbergasted that Nick Wayne's mother has taken to wrestling like an absolute duck to water. She is she is phenomenal. I think if the sort of the the payoff of this whole thing is that Nick Wayne does indeed go on his own. Not that I necessarily think that's what they'll do, but if he does start a singles sort of thing away from the patriarchy, absolutely his mother should be his manager because I think
Yeah,
she is one of the most underrated off out of the ring. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, not
underrated.
necessarily managerial.
Oh, managerial. Okay.
Non-ring,
Yeah,
non-ring personnel in wrestling right now. I think she's brilliant. She has
yeah,
been
she's
brilliant
great.
ever since she cut that. Everyone was worried like, oh god, they're gonna make Mother Wing cut a promo after like
Yes,
Wrestle Green, and then she does that. You boo a mother?
a
How
mother.
dare you?
I
And
loved that so much. I, honestly think it helped that she grew up, well, not grew up, but when she was younger, and she was obviously with Nick Wayne's dad. I obviously she was around a lot of wrestling, so I think that helped. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about Mother Wayne. I think that we'll keep them to the After Dark episode. But I just want to redirect everyone's attention to a solid Fountain of Wayne, ironically, song that
oh
possibly
no.
could be of interest. But yeah, no, but seriously, she's great. She's great, and I genuinely like her. And whenever she does promos, yeah, at first I definitely was nervous, but she's taken to it really well, like you said. But anyway, that's much ado about
Abs-
nothing.
Absolutely, she does indeed have it going on. Uh,
Now I'll tell you
so
what else has it
oh
going on.
yes, oh my god. So this started off with nothing.
Yes.
They had backstage. Hangman Page is talking with Renee as you do. Hangman Page he's about to cut a promo on something. I don't know. I'm distracted by Hangman's new hair, which I'm not necessarily a fan of. Sorry, Hangman. But regardless, and then it just goes from 0 to 110 real fucking quick. Because all of a
Yep.
sudden, Dwayne Strickland comes into view, and he starts going off on Hangman like, "You said you're gonna cuss me in my title match. Who the fuck do you think you are? Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, oh my
Uh,
god, it's him.
they could do this a million times. They could do this every week and tease Hangman Swerve looking at each other and just like every time I just eat it up every single fucking time. I mean, like I said earlier, I was like that fucking kid in the meme where he's like holding his hands on his head and he's just like looking around with big eyes and mouth agape. Like that was me. Like literally, I had my mouth eye open and everything else, and I just was like so excited. I was like, "Oh my god, I did not expect Swerve to actually like comment on this and like this is so good. I don't know where this is going, but I don't care." Like these two literally are going to fight forever and I'm so excited about it.
Yeah,
I'm just so I honestly like on their third match or whatever, like when it was announced, I was like, "Man, we've already seen this like twice." I mean, I love it. I'm excited for it, but like I don't know how many times we could do this. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, nah, they can keep doing this forever. I don't give a fuck as long as they space it out. But yeah, it's so good. Every time these two are on the screen, it's money. It's electric. It's must see stuff. It's big. We are the feeling kind of shit that AEW
yeah,
used to do with Danny. It's yeah, it's good. It's what I want from AEW for sure, and it just lights a fire under me. And oh, it was so good. I didn't even catch everything. I was so entranced. I couldn't believe they were sharing the same screen because they've been
I know,
teasing it for like a month or two now. I'm like, oh my
I
god,
know.
it's
It's
happening.
incredible.
Yeah,
It's incredible. Like they are destined to do this forever. This is
absolutely.
AEW's forever feud, and they
Yep.
could not have picked two better people to put in that position. That like it's a controversial opinion, maybe, given the quality of things like Hangman and Penny and like Tony and Mariah. This is AEW's best story of all time, and
It's definitely got to be up there.
it's not done.
Yep.
Like there's still you would think that injecting a man with a syringe and smashing him in the head with a chair would be it. And yet there's still a million different things that they could do. I don't think they should do it just yet. Like you say, this should be a slow burn, multi-year thing. But every time they come back to it, it's electric. And this was like you say, I didn't catch everything they said. I think the crux of it was Swerve. Hangman said that Swerve, I will do everything in my power to stop you from being world champion. And then Swerve obviously took umbrage with that. That's the crux of why they did it. I, that's secondary to the fact that they did it for me. Like, give me Swerve and Hangman for the rest of my life, and I will be happy.
Absolutely.
So after that, we had a sit down interview with the three members of Rated FTR, which I really like this segment, and I'll get into
Yes.
why in a minute. But I thought this was excellent because you had Dax Harwood sort of apologizing for what he termed as getting emotional. When after Cope got beaten down on Dynamite, Dax refused to help him and such, and he explained that the FTR had sort of taken a step back from their goals of holding the tag belts to help Cope, and it didn't amount to anything. And Cope was saying, "Well, I didn't ask you to do that, etc." But the content of this is almost secondary to the sort of the vibes of this segment, because you have Dax is sort of like being a whiny bitch about this, but not in a sense of being a whiny sort of shit eater or whatever. He's just that sort of sanctimonious. Oh well, I took I took time out of my things to help you, but I guess it doesn't matter. You don't really care about us. You have, and it's just that sort of that sanctimony. It went through me in the best way. It was. I want to hear your thoughts. I could talk about this forever. What did you think about it?
I thought this was great. This was the first time I got God, my family, I got kids. That they sounded like legit people. Like obviously those are legit things to care about, but like this sounded like a real character moment for all three of them. Now I did not expect it to be rated FTR, but it does make sense. And I like this a lot. It's very clear that Dax wants those tag titles, and I don't blame him. As honestly, the tag titles should be more important than the trios titles. They've already tried being a trio. Cope's already tried like being like you can kind of see where Dax is coming from. Obviously, he like you were saying is being a whiny asshole about it, but he is. But there's some merit to like all good kind of heel turns. He's kind of justified in feeling what he's feeling. Cope's had his moment. Cope did kind of drag them down, even if that's not what he intended. And Dax did apologize, right? Saying that he got the emotions got the best of me. And it just like I get where he's coming from, but the crux of it is I think Dax is going to cost them a dynasty, or they're going to lose clean, and Dax is going to be like, "That's it, I'm done," and he's going to drop Cope, or like literally like in the ring or something. But and Cash is going to be conflicted, and we're going to get a whole thing about that. I think that's going to be great. I think Dax
Yeah,
and Cash need to turn heel. They've needed to turn heel, honestly, for maybe the past year. You could argue less or more. I don't know the exact time, but this was great, and this was the first time they've. Not that I've hated them, but I think that they could have been better and more interesting, and this is that.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think, like you say, I think at Dynasty they're going to lose, and I think Dax will beat the fuck out of Adam Copeland. And I think you'll see Cash, like you say, I think you'll see Cash very conflicted. I think eventually it does not make sense to split up FTR. I think eventually
Right.
Cash will go to FTR side, and I think maybe that's your next. Maybe they are this sort of revitalized FTR are the people to take the belts off of her Syndicate eventually. I wouldn't mind that. I don't. I'm not the sort of person who's like, oh God, not the same people again. If it's the same people doing something radically new and interesting. So absolutely, if they hit gold with the heel FTR that they are going for, absolutely go for the tag titles, win the tag titles. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. But until then, you have a trios match at Dynasty, Dory. Congratulations.
You know what? You can congratulate me all you want. I am legitimately excited for that. FTR is a great tag team. I don't care what some people say. Cope is not a dope, and I have hope that this match will be good. Another bit I stole from Simon
I,
Miller.
I thought you were just gonna keep going there. Like Happy Gilmore.
No, nope. Nope. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited, and then I think that I think Pac and Claudio and Yuta are a great trio. They've got great trios moves that they all use. Watching. I'll only say this. I think hopefully this will be the last time, but I wish that they would have pulled the trigger on Pac earlier in AEW because it just feels too late for him in terms of like world title singles gold. But anyway, I will lament that. But yeah, they're a great trio. I'm glad to see Pac on the pay-per-view with some gold around his waist, as it should be. This was a great segment, and I'm excited for that match. And we have arguably an even better segment next.
Yes, absolutely. Because we have Swerve Strickland, first of all, coming down to the ring with Prince Nana. Again, crowd is very, very loud for Swerve Strickland. That's another thing just to briefly touch upon. AEW has so many people that are so over right now. Like you want to talk about people like Swerve, Tony, Osprey, even people like Megan Bayne, even obviously Kenny. Speedball, who has only been in the company a couple of weeks, gets a massive reaction right at the start of this show. There's so many people in this company that the fans just buy into so strong. The Hurt Syndicate, I've never heard anything so loud as shouted tonight and every week when people are chanting "We hurt people" over and over again.
Right.
It's a great time to be an AEW fan, guys. I'm just saying. But we have Swiss Strickland over as hell, calls out John Moxley, straight to the point. Get out here, Mr. Mox. And he comes straight to the crowd as he does. Crowd's loud for Mox. Despite what people might say about the Death Riders story up to this point, crowd was loud for Mox.
I've heard nothing but positive things about the storyline. I have no idea what you're talking about. Also, I haven't used the internet since October, so
Yeah,
I don't think
I was
I
gonna
don't
say,
I don't think that's relevant though.
how is the renovation of your rock going?
Dwayne's doing pretty. Okay.
No, he's not. But regardless, um, Swerve cuts a good sort of a good promo as he does. Someone mentioned this in a shared Discord of ours that Swerve does have a lot of sort of stumbling over his promos sometimes, but I don't notice it or I don't care because he cuts a promo so well, so real that
Yeah.
it almost adds to it. That he cuts that passion so well that a stumble over his words works because it's like, oh, I'm so passionate about what I'm saying that I can't get the words out in time.
Right.
Anyway,
I've never noticed it either.
minor tangent. I've noticed it, but it doesn't matter because it works for the character, which is all you can ask for, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, he says, oh, maybe Mox hides the title in the briefcase because he can't bear to look at it, because he's ashamed of what he's done to the AEW World Title scene and whatever. Claudio Castagnoli comes out to the ring as just, and he's just standing there menacingly behind Prince Nana. And then Mox cuts what I'm going to go out on a limb and say is the best promo he's cut in the Death Rider story so far. I adored this. I want to let you have a little bit of time to talk about this because I know you loved it as much as I did.
Yeah, this was great. I want to point out something that someone mentioned recently, that they talk a lot about like who, like he asked who Swerve is or what Swerve is. And they kind of talk a lot about identity and stuff like that. And Swerve says something very interesting to Mox at one point. He says, "You go ahead, keep playing John Moxley on TV." And somebody pointed out that in a certain another company, going by another name, that Moxley did the same thing to somebody else who you typically cannot see. So I thought that was very interesting. I would not have picked up on that unless someone online had picked up on that. But thought that was really interesting. A good callback to things like that. I did like, I liked that Swerve gave kind of an explanation, like, okay, why have I not been going after the belt? Like, what's up with that? And he's like, I'm just letting Moxley like do it to himself, like fuck himself over. And I'm kind of thinking though, like, he waited a little bit too long. Like the Death Riders were out of commission for a couple weeks. He could have done something. But anyway, he made a clip about the back. And I thought that Mox did a really good showing in terms of like questioning Swerve and making him doubt himself and stuff like that. Look, I'm gonna be there. I want Swerve to win. I don't think he's going to win. Obviously, I think the Death Riders are going to get involved. Now, I do question how they get involved because they're tied up with the trios match. Usually, if you're tied up with a match, you don't show up later in the night, and then that would just leave Marina. But I would think that we're going to get a Willow versus Marina match at Dynasty, maybe? Question mark.
Well,
Um,
this is where um this is where we tie in with the segment previous.
right.
I think Hangman comes out to cut Swerve.
Right, right. Oh man, but then do we do something at Double or Nothing, or wait till All In? I don't know. Oh man.
I think you can spin that off. Hangman costs Swerve the title again, because let's not forget that they kind of did that at All In as well.
Right.
You could have Hangman be the specter of I'm never going to let you win this world title, and I fucking mean it. Because
Yeah.
every time you get an opportunity, or even when you're the champion, I will make sure that you lose it. I think you could have that spin into the Owen. I imagine that both men are going to be in the Owen if Swerve doesn't win the title. That is, I think you could have that sort of. You could either have them face each other in the Owen, or you can have Swerve. You could have Hangman cost Swerve in the Owen, and maybe you do Hangman and Swerve. What would it be now? 5 at All In that case. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but
Yeah.
there are so many different ways they could go with it. I just want to put over a line that Mock says. I can't remember. You were talking a while. I can't remember if you did mention it. I'm sorry. Um, but about Mox is disgusted at the way that professional wrestling has been going. That it's been taken over by talent agencies and Instagram guys and billionaires and blah 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 blah. And that Swerve actually is one of the men that gives him hope that everything he's been working towards hasn't been in vain because Swerve is real and Swerve is a wrestler's wrestler. And I love that. That is a complete distillation that we've been waiting for months as to why John Moxley is doing the Death Riders. And it's because he is sick of the commodification and the social media influence and the corporatism of wrestling, the sport that he loves. And that Swerve Strickland recognizes that too because he's real and he's a wrestler and he's the best in his craft. Oh, I could write an essay on why I love this promo for that line alone.
Yeah. It was
Excellent.
good. It was good stuff. It sets up a lot of stuff. I think you're right. I think Hangman does cost Swerve. I don't know if we immediately get a Swerve Hangman program out of that, or maybe they kind of like beat each other to hell and then come back at All In and do something. I don't even know what, like, they've already done a steel cage, they've already done a Texas death match, so I don't really know what they do. I guess. Oh God, this is like, I think the second podcast in a row I think I've pitched this, but they could do the fucking thing. They could do the exploding barbed wire death match. But then I don't know where you go after that. Like at certain point, it's like you just gotta have a straight up wrestling match or something.
Mm.
Because like I don't know where they go after a cage match and in a death match after that. But yeah, this was great, and
Barbed
there's a lot of
wire
interesting options.
exploding death match.
Yes.
Oh, can you imagine? They should absolutely do that. If there's one feud that warrants bringing back the exploded barbed wire death match, it's this one.
Yep.
But anyway, then they have the brawl. Well, not quite the brawl. They have the team for the brawl because Marina Shafir comes out with a crowbar, but Willow Nightingale then comes down to pipe her down, as you will. And Swerve cuts a really good promo. He says that Moxley bleeds, but Swerve has led buckets for this industry. You've been in Texas death matches. I've won Texas death matches, which I thought was an excellent line because it's true. They both faced Hangman in Texas death matches, and what happens? Moxley tapped out, Swerve hanged the Hangman. Like brilliant parallels. I thought that was excellent. Um, and he said that Swerve is going to win the title at Dynasty, and Moxley keep playing John Moxley on TV. Which it
Yep.
turns out is a great callback to something that, well, I would say John Moxley, Dean Ambrose said to John Cena like 10 years ago, which, long-term storytelling, Dory.
That's right.
Um,
Absolutely. It was all planned out.
yeah, it was all planned out in 2014 that eventually, the son of the Jacksonville Jaguars owner would start a wrestling promotion 5 years from then. Sorry, there's a tangent to be had about how I hate the term long-term storytelling because 90% of the time it's just a callback. It's not actually long-term storytelling if you don't
Yeah,
plan
yeah.
it out when you're doing the original. Sorry. Yeah. So good segment. Sets up a really good mixed tag team match between Swerve and Willow versus Marina Shafir and John Moxley next week, which I'm very excited about. But we do have to move on because we've been talking for an hour and there's like 3 matches to go, Dory.
Well, luckily one of them's a squash match, but yes.
Yeah, true. But yeah, you
But
have
we
the
have a
op.
couple backstage
Then
segments also.
yes, we do. We have the op story. We have the op, which is
Arguably, we
still.
have one of the best backstage segments of all time? Question mark.
Oh, okay,
Well,
debatable.
I'm slightly joking, but I mean, just because of
Oh,
how
right,
funny it
okay.
was.
Yes, it was very funny that you had like they were like, oh, we go back to Katsuyori Shibata, uh, and it's him behind the camera as he does with Samoa Joe and Hook, shooting the shit, uh, and he's Samoa Joe asks Hook why he choked out Max Caster because he answered the open challenge. And Hook just says, "Well, he's fun to choke out." Yeah, he is. And then he runs into Max backstage. They choke him out again. I love Max Caster's new gimmick. I really do, despite
Yep.
myself.
I was telling Kim this yesterday. I was like, Kim, I don't like him as a person, but I have to respect how much shit he is eating in terms of like just taking the losses, looking like a loser, constantly getting pinned, constantly doing those promos after after Dynamite where people are trying to interview him, he's like running away, trying to run faster and faster because he doesn't want to talk about it. It's just so good. I have to respect that this man is willing to take losses. He's willing to eat shit. He's willing to look like a total loser. I gotta because not a lot of people would do that, and like he knows that this is working, and that it's getting reactions from the fans, and people are enjoying him again. I against all fucking odds, but yeah, this was incredible. Samoa Joe, I think and Hook were like talking about like, okay, why did you like keep choking out Max Caster? And he was like, oh, it was so fun, I just it's just fun to beat him up. And Joe's like, okay. And then he like points to, I guess Max was trying to tell the stuff like to break up because it's working out for him to go solo. And
Yeah,
then it dropped another little dig at Anthony Bowens. I don't know if we've noticed, but this is increasing recently. I
yeah,
smell I
yeah, yeah.
smell a I smell a 0 hour open challenge being answered by one Anthony Bowens. But anyway,
Congratulations for being there once again for that.
hey, excited about that. Anthony Bowens was at the Last of Us premiere, so he knows ball. But anyway, but yeah, Joe just comes up behind him, chokes him out, and he's like, "Yeah, you're right, that was fun." And Top Flight laugh at him, and then we go into a squash match.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, you had like backstage saying he's going to be in the Owen Hart tournament. And if anyone thinks they're better than him, come to Collision and face me, boys. Great. Owen Hart tournament this year, absolutely fucking stacked. Excellent stuff. Not much to say about that. Only to say, looking forward to the Owen Hart tournament. Love Jay White.
Yes.
Then, like you say, we have a squash match, which I'm not mad about. There were two of them on this show, but it's not a big deal. You had Top Flight, which I'll never begrudge Top Flight or any other wrestler getting a hometown match like this because they are from Minneapolis, which is still technically the hometown, even though we're in St. Paul. I won't pretend to understand American geography.
I won't either, and I live here, so.
But it was an okay match. Top Flight got a really good reaction. Faced some local people whose names I cannot remember for the life of me.
It was,
went
wait,
about
I have
3
it from the
minutes.
site. I have it from AEW. So they have a little results page. So Devo Knight and Alex Findley. There you go.
Well, congratulations to them. I've already forgotten their name. Um, not me burying local talent. Oh dear.
I know, right? Wow.
Uh,
Adam doesn't support the indies, everybody.
fuck the indies. I'm on my WWE arc.
I was just about to make an NXT UK joke. I was like seconds away from making an NXT UK, and I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't put that out.
But it went like 3 minutes. Dante Martin
Yeah, it was fine.
hit that really cool frog splash where it looks like he's running in midair. I really like it.
Yes.
Yeah, and cool, very good. Will Ospreay's back next week, which is good, always good. Love my Billy boy. Should, if it's not Swerve, next world champion should probably be Will Ospreay. But we don't have time to get into that. We will. That's just my opinion. And then after that we have, for my money, the second best match of the night, which is Mark Briscoe versus Konosuke Takeshita. Two men that they're not going to put on a bad match. We've seen these two men before, but this was really really good stuff.
Yeah, I really like this. Another really hard hitting match. I like that they each hit each other with finishers, and they both were able to kick out. I did kind of I figured Takeshita was winning. Even after the J Driller, I didn't bite because I was like, oh well, Takeshita hit him with one of his finishers or one of his signatures, the knee, and Briscoe kicked out. So I presume this is a kind of way of keeping parity, where now Takeshita's going to kick out of the J Driller, which he did. But yeah, it was really good. Another really hard hitting match. Some more apron spots, going through the ropes and stuff like that. Another beautiful elbow drop from Briscoe. We don't talk about it enough, but he has one of the best elbow drops in the business.
He really does.
Thought it was really good.
Is excellent stuff.
Yes.
I feel like the elbow drop is a bit of a dying art. As a finisher anyway, or even as a signature move.
I think
it
your
nowadays?
fave Kyle Fletcher does it too, right?
On occasion.
Yeah, I thought he did it. I thought he did it to Brody in their match, but maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, I mean, that Froggy Bow is just it's the best double drop in the game right now, and I say that because Kairi Sane is out injured. So I'm not having that debate with any other people. But regardless, excellent match. Like you say, they traded finishers. I bit a little bit on the J Driller until I saw that Takeshita was rolling towards the ropes, and I thought, oh no, that's the spot they're doing.
Yeah,
fine.
that too.
You could have predictability with it still being very good. And Takeshita eventually hits the Raging Fire for the win. Really hard hitting match. We brought up, by the way, that people don't to kick out at 3.1 anymore. I believe Mark Briscoe does that here, which is a boss move because Mark Briscoe should be protected like that. He's Mark Briscoe.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Loved this match. Thought it was really great. Not a ton to say, but really enjoyed it from in-ring perspective, and just the moves they were doing. It was very hard hitting. Everything looked good and crisp. It was about as good of a TV match as you could want, really.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, and then just a couple of backstage segments to tie everything back to what they were talking about earlier. The Death Riders, the trio champions, Death Riders, I should say, appear, to accept the challenge. I didn't have many notes on this, only to say that Wheeler Yuta's hair looked like a poodle to me. You know, when they have like that flat hair that pushes down on their eyes and makes their eyes
Oh,
sort of. That's literally on my notes. Also, that Pac continues to look like a badass, unless you
yes.
see him with a
I
pirate shirt
will. The
on.
one note I have is I thought it was very funny that Pac said, "We challenge you to at Dynasty, not you challenge us." I was like, "Wow, big! Like she didn't break up with me; I broke up with her." Energy coming from
Yeah,
this.
yeah, you're not firing me. I quit.
That's right.
But yeah, and then also what we talked about earlier with the Hurt Syndicate, saying that there's dissenting voices in the group. Bobby and Shelton don't necessarily want MJF in the group, and MVP saying, "Well, we're a syndicate, we're equal. If you don't like it, we'll talk about it." Um, but he says, we're on the same page about the learning tree. Fuck those guys, beat their asses, whatever. Cool stuff. I love the Hurt Syndicate so much. I really do.
Me too. Yeah, this was a great
Uh,
segment. I liked all of it, but we've already pretty much talked about it. So all that's left is the main event.
yeah, the main event. Love to see the women get the main event 2 weeks in a
Two
row. By the
weeks in
way,
a row, baby. I think that's a record.
yeah, I feel like that is probably the first time, which it shouldn't be such a big deal, but it is. So good for them. Very good to see that the women's division is getting more of a close focus on it now. Which has been it's been a complaint about AEW since basically the beginning of its existence. So it's really good that they are putting more of a spotlight on that sort of thing. Uh, just good all around, in my opinion. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. The finish is really what mattered, but
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I was confused why this was the main event until I saw the finisher, or until I saw the finish. And basically, that to me, well, besides Penelope and how good she looks in the ring, I mean, and of course in the ring,
Mm.
the back spring elbow. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Everybody looked pretty good here, even Thunder Rosa. And uh, what what oh, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. The finish was Megan Bayne. Sorry, I was thinking too much about Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne
Something
hitting
we can all be
Tony.
guilty of.
Well, yes. Hit Tony with the face descent and then actually pinned her. And if you had that on your fucking bingo card, I mean, congratulations. Because I sure
Yeah.
as shit
Not
didn't.
not only that, like you could talk about the challenge of his the champion and whatever. Pinter absolutely clean as a sheet. Like, not only that, she pinned her. She did like a little bit of the Triple H Booker T thing where she like took a few seconds to compose herself before she pinned her and still pinned her 1, 2, 3. I thought,
Yeah,
wow, talk about looking dominant. Like
right.
fair play,
And
fair play. That not only that, it's an excellent way not only to showcase Mega Bayne as dominant, but to protect the hell out of that finish as well. If that finish,
yes,
she only took one, and she took a few seconds to cover her, and it put Toni Storm, the biggest star, potentially in AEW right now, like full stop. It only took one to put her away. That is protection on a grand scale. Like fair play to them.
yeah, this was good. And Tony is so over at this point. It doesn't matter. She can take a pin.
No,
It doesn't matter. She, obviously as long as it doesn't cost her a title. But I do think this all but seals that Bayne is not winning at Dynasty. I didn't think she was beating Tony. I thought there was a chance, but now I don't think there's any chance. There's no way, not no way, but I don't think that there's a world in which she gets 2 wins over the world, unless they are monster put. I mean, I hate to make this comparison, but they are if they do that, we're doing a push that has not been seen in maybe about 20 years or so from another certain individual who used to do F5s. I know, not a great
No,
person.
I was gonna say it is doing that right down to the finish.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. So it's hard to not make the comparison, right? I get we don't like him, but I'm just saying it's very similar in a lot of ways. But I don't think they're doing that. I do think Tony's going to win. Now it's probably going to be a roll up finish, or maybe Thunder's going to get involved, or Penelope cost Bayne by accident. There's still stuff you could do here to protect Bayne, but plenty of things. But yeah, this was a pretty good match. But the finish is what made it a great match for me, and a really great Dynamite overall.
Absolutely. I also want to put over while we're here. Um, Someone else made this point, but I just want to paraphrase it. That Penelope Ford was out for a good 2 year stretch, and when she left, the women's division, I mean, it wasn't bad, but certainly wasn't the sort of stacked division that we see now with people like Mercedes and Willow and Stack coming into their own, and even people like Harley Cameron, Mariah May, Toni Storm, etc., etc. You didn't have any of that when Penelope Ford was last around in AEW, and I have to commend her and respect her immensely, but not saying, oh, well, I guess the women's division has passed me by then. No, she has worked her ass off to prove. Actually, no, she still does belong in this much improved women's division in 2025. It's absolutely incredibly commendable that she has not sort of taken it lying down and said, no, I will work my ass off to prove that I still belong here. Really,
Absolutely.
really good.
Yeah,
Really good.
she went through some of the worst things you could ever go through, and I'm not gonna
Yeah.
like drag on it, but or be more explicit than that. You can look it up if you really want. But she went through some real personal stuff, and to come back from not only that, but just in general from that long away from the ring, and look as good, if not better, than what she used to look in terms of in ring. It's just incredible. All the kudos and props to her. Good stuff from Penelope in this match, and in general whenever she's on the screen, really.
Yeah, she has become credible again, which is really good to see. She is the sort of person that you can put in a Dynamite main event, which is not something that the women's division gets very often. And
Correct.
and it look, you know, it's the sort of thing that you can put her in that main event spot, and it looks fine. Nobody's going, well, Penelope. Why is Penelope Ford here? It's like, no, okay, fair enough. Penelope Ford in the main in the women's main event. Admittedly, she's surrounded by sort of people you would say were bigger stars than her, but that just
Right.
makes it even more impressive that she is able to not stand out negatively in that sense and belong in the ring with them. Can't put over enough how well Penelope Ford has done on her return so far,
Yeah,
and I hope to see much more in the future.
for sure. I would be remiss if I didn't at least take us back to the beginning of the show for a second, Adam. Um, did
Okay.
you think it was weird that Dr. Evil was in the ring at any point? I just thought that was a little weird that suddenly I
Ah,
heard the voice of
ah.
Mike Myers. I just thought that was
Why
strange. I just
are
wanted to
why
note
are
that.
you bringing this up now?
I was going to mention it earlier, but you moved on. So I was like, I don't have any other points to make really about the
you
show.
just
I just
you just
wanted to.
had
I
to get
did.
your
I really did. I just wanted to.
had to
I
get
didn't
your
want to.
fucking point in that you think Speedball sounds like Doctor fucking Evil.
I showed the clip to Kim, and she didn't even have a reference point because I don't even think she grew up with Austin Powers, and she's like, he does kind of sound like Doctor Evil. Anyway. I know it's so
I've
weird that
spent
I'm bringing this up now. I was gonna bring it up, but then you just moved on. And I was like, well, fuck, I don't want to like
no, but
derail things, so I'll
the
derail
thing
them
is,
later.
my best friend and my ex are both from Montreal. I've spent a
Yeah,
lot of time in Quebec. That is an accent I am very much accustomed to. I didn't even think twice about it. I was just like, oh yeah, that absolutely sounds like someone from Laval.
yeah.
Just talking shit about someone
A meal.
like a meal. Yeah, I mean, honestly, can you imagine like you could kind of see for those that don't know, Speedball Mike Bailey's real name is Emile Belajon Labers, and you can kind of see Emile Mike Belajon Bailey. You can kind of see where he's come from. Can you imagine if he went with that as his fucking name? Like, I have
It's just
absolutely
Frenchy French baguette.
no. I have nothing but respect for the Quebecois, but like the Americans would not tolerate that. Good grief. But regardless, thank you for taking us on such a wonderful ending tangent right there. Uh, yeah, it's like, oh, we could, what can we talk about? The main event? No. Speedball sounds like Doctor Fucking Evil. Okay, what a
I swear
wonderful
I was
note
gonna
to
bring
end
it up
on.
earlier. I know I don't respect women's wrestling. I don't respect women's wrestling. Confirmed.
Yeah, of course.
Confirmed.
Yeah, you had to just tie it back to a man, didn't you?
That's yeah. I guess call me Liv because I had to tie it back to a man somehow.
Hey, we have to
Hey.
know if we have to get it on the record if Speedball likes chicken tenders.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
He
But
is
yeah,
great.
that's our show, and that was Dynamite, which I thought was a really great show. Nothing huge came out of it, but I thought pretty much everything hit and was great.
It was a very good building to Dynasty episode,
Yes.
I thought.
Yeah.
Which is, you had last week where it was like nothing but matches. You had maybe one backstage segment, but that was really sort of balls to the wall. Okay, we're giving you a mini pay-per-view for free. This week, you do have to have the sort of, you do have to balance it out with episodes like this, which is very story heavy and very exposition heavy and building towards the big shows. And I thought they did that very, very well. So yeah,
Yeah.
overall,
This
very,
is
very good Dynamite, which we
I think the
shouldn't be
last
surprised about at this point.
Yes, I think the last thing I will say is that this is the kind of show that makes you go, "Wow." Anyone who's going to go to that specific pay-per-view just going to have a great time, and they must be so lucky.
Oh,
Anyway, Adam, have a
okay,
good day.
okay. Fuck you. I've been to two all-ins. What have you done?
Oh, fuck you. I'll go to All In someday. God damn it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you have Texas. I think you'd probably rather spend the money to come to Britain, to be honest.
I would. Absolutely I would. Just so I can, just get those get the I don't know how that translated on the mic, but I was slapping my hand as if I was punching you. Anyway.
Oh, okay. I assumed you were just doing the rock, that sort of.
The goosebumps. That's right. I see Great Britain, and I just get goosebumps. I start singing the national anthem.
Well, please don't. Um, not that I'm unpatriotic. I just don't want to hear you sing.
Fair enough. Most don't.
Oh, don't put yourself down. Don't put yourself
Uh,
down. Let me do that for you.
I knew that was coming. All right.
All right, yes. But yes, we should probably wrap this up. Thank you very, very much to everyone who has endured our insane ramblings for the last, God, hour and a half. I can only apologize for both of our behavior this time. Um, but it has been very fun. It is always very fun and a delight, despite myself, to talk to you about wrestling, Dory.
Very good.
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
Apologies real quick that we completely, with the format change and me being ill, we completely forgot to do a collision podcast last
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday. Our bad. But we shall, with the format going back to normal, we should, barring any unforeseen circumstances, have another collision podcast up and running sometime before, well, I presume Monday. God knows when we do these things anymore. But thank you for supporting us. Please like and subscribe and share us all about your, little grimy social media caverns. Every ounce of support matters to us. You know that. Thank you very much for watching. Join us again next week. And yeah, thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.